How long is seminary training? You're actually with in the seminary that you went with Bishop Dolan and Sanborn.
Okay, I spent uh, if you count the years, 5 years, but I had summer classes which covered about a year or some or so. So I would say that I spent in all 6 years, if you include all the summer classes, because they wanted me to get ordained as soon as possible so I can go to Nigeria to begin to attend to the faithful. So I entered in 2009 and I left 2014, which is 5 years. But then there were the summer classes, which helped me to save time. So it should be 7 years, But then we were able to do much of the work within that space of time. Mm.
When you were going when you go to the when you're going to the seminary there at that time,
Mm.
was it like I'm not sure were there people there that were going to, when they got ordained, they would be working with Bishop Sanborn and his group, and then there were people there that maybe when they got ordained they'd be working with Bishop Dolan. Was there like kind of like that, or is it everyone was just it
Yes.
matter?
Yes.
Like okay, so you had
Exactly.
okay,
Excuse me. So yes, there were group. Yeah, there were yeah, Bishop Dolan would send his seminarians to sing to Bishop Sanborn Seminary, and like Bishop Maguire went to the same seminary, and of course he was going there so that he can work with Bishop Dolan. I mean, for the Larabe went there, but now he works with Father Zap, So yeah, that's how it worked, We all went there. Like I was a Bishop Dolan seminarian at the time when I went there. It
mm-hmm.
was very clear that I was going to work with Bishop Dolan. It was very clear at the time, so there was no difficulty about that. It was all very clear, and we knew exactly why we were there and who we were going to work with at the time. You see,
Sure.
but then the seminarian is also free to decide
Mm.
wh- whom with whom he wants to work. Bishop Sanborn is in the rule in the rule of the seminary. You have by the time you are tonsured, you should already decide who you want to work with.
Okay.
Yes. Mm.
You were well, maybe you can mention what was some of your most difficult time about seminary, and maybe what was something that you really enjoyed about seminary.
Well, I mean, interestingly, the difficult times and the good times are somewhat similar, depending on the way you look at it. So,
Mm-hmm.
you see, I've never had to go through such a rigorous training like I did at the seminary.
Mm.
Hard work. It was a lot of hard work. So, Bishop Sanborn is, in that sense, very, very strict. His seminary is very demanding. It demands all your attention.
Mm.
You have to be very hardworking to survive in the seminary because we study a lot, a lot. The whole day. You see, it's a very balanced system between devotion, prayers, study, and recreation and work. We did all those things. You see, so it was difficult for me in the sense that I have to always study hard. Well, I mean, it was not so. I didn't find it an impossible task because, well, I had already gone to the university before then. But nevertheless, and I've never had to study do so much in so little time like I did the seminar because there's so much work to do. The Bishop Samuel wants to put as much knowledge, not just the basics, of theology and the philosophy, but even some other courses, things you wouldn't see I mean, things that would have to be very useful to you in the course of your apostolate. So yes, that was difficult in the sense that it was challenging to always have to study, or you have every you have the quizzes and things. But at the same time, it also turned out to be the best part, especially the fact that you are gaining so much knowledge. You're learning a lot. You already see yourself as part of a privileged few, because you've had to study so much. So you have, by the time you're in the third year, you already know a lot of things. About the seminary, and also, the seminary life also helped me to, will I say, order my viewpoints, in life properly. The duties I have towards different persons, the parents, and everything. All of these things you will find all well studied in the seminary. So it was on the one hand, it was tedious having to study so much. On the other hand, the reward was very great. So it was a very good thing. Well, I would say overall, there were more days. I enjoyed it more than it was a challenge to me.
Um, when you were at seminary, what were some of the things, I was just curious, that seminarians struggled with the most? I mean, I don't want to get too much into all this, but I'm just curious, like, what were some of the things that they struggled with the most, and what was the things that people would that would, I guess, cause them to rethink their calling, or maybe or they would leave, and did you struggle with any of those?
I think the fact that you have to study hard, you have to work really hard. You see, during my time in the seminary school, some people, many persons came and left. They came and left.
Mhm.
You see, for example, I know somebody who came we were five of us in our first year, five of us. By the time we got to the second year, there were just three of us left, and then there were just two or four, and then there was just me. By the time I finished, I was the only person left. So it is difficult if you're not used to real hard work
Mm.
of studying, and I also refer to physical work too, because you have to do your own fair share of your duties around the seminary. You see,
Mhm.
so it's only fair, right? It's only fair that if you're studying in the seminary, you have to help out. It makes sense. You get my point. So,
Yeah.
but many persons were not used to that kind of regime, the very tedious and hard regime of work and study and everything. So they did not. So many people did not finish, and also some couldn't cope. They didn't perform well, and so they had to leave, or they were sent away, because there was no point you're continuing if you cannot pass those essential courses. You see, so it was. I would say that was what made most people to leave the seminar, because of the study was rigorous. If I may use that expression, it was very strict. You have to study hard. You have to work hard as well. In fact, some people were very critical of that fact. Yes, well, some people might argue there were maybe we didn't have too much emphasis on, like, devotions. But we said the rosary sometimes, but mostly we said the little office, the divine office, the prime, prime, vespers, and complaint, plus the mass and benediction and all those things. We didn't have a public. We didn't. At some point, we couldn't say the rosary in public. It was your private. You have to say privately. You get my point. So, some people would say maybe there was not enough of that. Some people would have loved to have more of devotion and less of the study and the work. But I didn't see that as too much of a problem. I think that I mean, I was not so concerned about all that. And the good thing, one of the beautiful thing about the seminary is that they pay they place much importance on the liturgy. You
Mm.
see, whatever can be done is done in the most generous way possible. Generous way, the Martins and laws of the different big of Christmas, Immaculate Conception, all these things, and they did all these things they did the best they could when it comes to the liturgy. And that was I can say that for sure. You see, but like I said, many people were criticized the fact that there was not more. Oh, though they wish they had maybe they came with the idea that there's lots of prayers and yeah, we prayed a lot, but it was we had a lot of studies as well. So that's really, I would say, that is what people would see as they wouldn't feel. So when they didn't feel that they felt it was too much for them, too much work for them to do.
In the
Mhm.
seminary, Your Excellency, in the seminary
Mhm.
on, let's say on a Sunday, what was a typical Sunday like?
Oh, Sunday, yeah, we'll wake up an hour later than the usual time. We
Oh,
have
okay.
the weekly meditation. No, prime. We had the prime at 6 o'clock, and then we have after prime meditation for 30 minutes. After that, we would receive communion on Sunday, communion, and then we'll go have breakfast, and then come back for the masses. We have to have two masses on Sunday. The first one is the low mass. They will have the solemn high mass on Sunday. So that's after the mass. We had the brunch, and after brunch we are free. Brunch ends around 1 o'clock, 12:31, and then we are free until Vespers
Hmm.
at 5 o'clock. I think 5 o'clock we have Vespers. After Vespers, we have recreation as well until complain. That is the evening prayer at 8 o'clock.
What was
Mm.
what you said you woke up an hour later?
Yes.
What time did you would do normally wake? So what time would that be? Well, I'm just curious. I have
Okay,
no.
okay. So the weekdays we wake up at 5 a.m. during my time. And then no, 5:20, 5:20, pardon me. I wake up at 5 because I was a timekeeper. I had to prepare myself before I ring the bell. I wake everybody else up at the time.
Mhm.
And then 5:20 they will have so during the weekdays 5:20 prime at 6 a.m.
Ooh, okay.
After prime meditation mass usually around 7 weekdays, but on Saturdays we wake up at 6:20, 6:20, 1 hour later.
Hmm.
Then prime at 7, and then we'll have meditation and everything, mass at about 8 o'clock. And on Sunday, the same thing. On holiday, like feasts, like major feast days, Immaculate Conception, and so on, we wake up, we'll have the same timetable as for weekends.
Oh, okay. So you get to
Mhm.
sleep in a little bit. It's really a
Yes,
day of
yes,
rest.
yes, it is. Mhm.
um, oh, I'm blanking. What I was going to ask you. Oh, what was so okay? What was your physical work like? You said that there's a rigorous study, and then you also had to do a lot of chores. I assume. Did you
Yes.
guys? What was your chores like? And then did you rotate through different tasks?
Okay, so during the weekdays, we have different teams. We have team A and team B, the groups, And when your week, if when your week comes, for example, a group would take care of the meals. I mean, the setting the table for the meals and the waiting at the meals. We have waiters, students, and seminarians that were waiters, and then the other group will, for example, wash the dishes after the class, after the meal.
Hmm.
And some people will be assigned to clean up the classrooms every morning before class. We would make sure of that the blackboard be cleaned up, everything is cleaned up. Everyone is assigned what to do. There's no confusion there at all. You know what to do. This is to the weekdays. And then after at the end of the day, after the last meal, you clean up, you have to clean up the kitchen and stuff things like that. And then on weekend on Saturdays we have a more extensive labor. For example, we clean the bathrooms, different bathrooms. Of course, you of course have to clean your own room. That goes without saying. And then you iron the linens. The sacristans take off the linens in the sacristy, and then you have to mow the lawns. At first, during my time, the seminarian had to mow the lawn, but some occasionally, even very often, the lay people will come in and help us in doing that too. But
Mm.
but when I left, it no longer, the seminarians had less to do. The lay people got more involved on the weekends in doing those jobs. But I was in charge of mowing the lawns with the ride mower. Just for me, it was an exciting thing because I love the idea of driving around the whole compound, mowing the lawns and everything. So it was more like fun for me because I just love the idea. We had a rather big compound. Seminary was very big, on a big expanse of land. So I was some and during so that's what we would do. And then a few other things called make keep in other words, we keep the whole seminary clean, generally speaking. And then of course we would rest, and then we'll go play some sports. Mostly we play soccer mostly during every Saturday, because most of us were soccer players than because we didn't have too many Americans in the seminary at the time. So we had Argentinians and Nigerians and stuff like that. So we played a lot of soccer on Saturdays. And then during the holidays, like I said, I didn't go home, so I would also be in charge of keeping those who didn't go home during holidays. Would be in charge of keeping the whole seminary clean, doing keeping the grass low and stuff like that. Yeah.
Did during your at seminary, how did you guys wake up on your own, or did like one of the professors or one of the priests come by and like wake everybody up, or what was did you how was that, what was that like in general? Was there
Yeah.
someone assigned to wake everybody up, or
Yes. And that was me in my time.
you were assigned
So
to it?
after Bishop Fleece, he was the person who was the timekeeper
Mm.
before I came. Later, afterwards, he now when he became like when he got his major orders, it now fell to me. He gave me the Bishop Sanborn assigned the duty to me to so I did that for I think about 2 years or more. I did that for about 2 years. So I had a privilege. For me, that was kind of like a privilege, because it means that I could wake up earlier than the rest of them. So I woke up at 5 o'clock, sometimes a little bit before 5. Take my do I would take the bell and wait for there is the bell there's the electrical bell that rings. Then I will now take the other bell and ring the bell and go around the whole seminary building ringing the bell, and then I'll begin to knock on everybody's door, and I will say Benedicamus Domino, and they will say Deo gracias, and they'll be awake.
They would say they would respond.
Deo gracias, yes.
I imagine it'd be, oh man. So when you knocked on the door, did you enjoy? Was it like a gentle knock, or did you just?
Oh, you have to knock hard. And they have to respond. If they don't respond, you knock again until they respond.
Until they respond. I'm just thinking of my own time when I was in the military. I was just thinking of my own time when
Okay.
I was in the military, and what wake up was like. Anybody, I don't know if it's exactly the same way, but it just sounds funny. It sounds like good discipline.
Yes, it is. It is. Yes.
Okay. That was interesting. I enjoyed hearing a little bit about that.